It has been a very, I don't want to say, it hasn't really been a busy week. It's just been a week. I had a lot of different things going on, a lot of different upgrades going on in the coffee trailer for a new roof that I had to put in. I did some cleaning here in the solar shed and cleaned up a few things that it really desperately needed. There was scraps of wire and stuff all over the floor, so I had to get that taken care of. And so I got that done. That looks much better now. We did some work last week over on the 24 and 12 volt systems. Battery testing there, I report it's going really well. The time we spent working on that 24 volt, using the 24 volt battery to charge the 12 volt battery was kind of cool. That was some fun time that we spent there. I don't have a whole lot planned tonight except a little bit of hanging out with you guys, chatting. I got a couple of subjects written on a card to talk about, and really it is dealer's choice this week. Actually, viewer's choice this week, I should say, more than anything. I didn't really have a whole lot going on. Didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time. The shed was a little warm today, so I didn't do any prep work for it. So without the prep work, I really didn't want to spend a whole lot of time doing a whole lot tonight. So I thought, you know what? Let's just sit around and talk. We always get off to a good chat at the very beginning of most of our live streams. So let's just chat a little bit about what's going on, and you guys feel free to bring up any subject content you want to. I got a couple of cool ones going on. The sun was a little bit weak today. I did do some cool stuff with the bit miner this week. One of the things I changed is that I've been attempting to turn it on, as the sun comes up. But what I'm really learning is that if I run the battery down far enough to have a big enough buffer to catch all the sun and still have the miner run all day, that I don't have enough battery space to store everything and the battery gets full. So what I started doing is turning on the bit miner earlier and earlier in the day. And it's using obviously it's using the solar system to, when I turn it on, in the morning, because batteries are left over from the night. So what I've started doing this week was I started with turning it on at 7 a.m. and letting it burn the batteries down to about 20%. And then it's able to, by the time the sun comes up, it's either has just shut off because the batteries hit 20%, or it's down at 22, 23, 24%, and then it starts to charge again. And the problem I'm running into is I need a little bit more intelligence, because the shut off is 50 or 60% at night. And the reason I need the shut off to be so high is because I still have a lot here to run. I still have freezers and refrigerators and stuff like that, and it's still a backup system in case of really bad time. So what I decided to do this week was start putting in a little intelligence. And the intelligence that I put in was kind of cool. I put in some timers that looks at predictions, not timers. I use some of the predictions, the solar prediction tools that are out there. So Home Assistant is linked into a solar prediction tool, and I can probably just show it to you. That would probably be the easiest way to get it across. So if you look here, that ain't the right screen. Let's see if I can get that screen to update correctly. Let's just redo this here. It's this one. I think I finally figured out how to get this thing to share correctly, except you got to set it up before you do it. So display capture, and I want this one, and there it is. Okay. So Now I can go back to here. There we go. All right. So as you can see here, see if I can get that to expand. There we go. That's better, I guess. I don't know. Better, worse, in between, something along those lines. Anyway, oh, I see what that did. Okay. So you can see here I've got these predictions. So what it was predicting is 20 kilowatt power day, and it's predicting 13 tomorrow. So what I started doing was looking at estimating. I started off looking at estimating because I was thinking to myself, I'd get up in the morning and look outside and say, okay, well, the day looks like it's going to be a good day. I'd, open up the phone and look at the prediction and see how much there was going to come. So then I was taking that and just guessing on whether I should turn it on or off, forcing it on a little bit earlier. Then I built in a couple of these triggers over here that you see down here. This AM burn off, which is basically meaning if AM burn off is turned on, first of all. Then the second one on to the right is when it's active. And the reason I had to build this active flag was to prevent it from shutting down before it even got started. Because what would happen is it would turn on at 7 a.m. and then it would see, oh, well, there's no solar and the batteries are low, and it would shut right back off. Meaning the batteries were low. Let's say the batteries were at 35%, and I've told it to end the day at 50%. It's going to say, oh, the batteries are under 50%, and it shuts off. So what I have it do is at 7 a.m., it sets that burn off active, turns it on based on how much solar I'm supposed to get today based on that prediction up there at the top under the PV sources in that third row. And if today's production is over 20, then it turns on, it does use the burn off, burns it down to 20%, and then shuts off and then turns on normally. Or if it can't burn it down to 20% before it starts, then it just keeps on running and runs until the end of the day. This is kind of what I've been playing with. It's kind of a fun. Whoops, wrong screen. What am I doing here? It's kind of a fun thing to play with because it really is playing with the brains of the. Oh man, that screen is not switching the way I thought it was. I'm looking at you guys. Let me try it this way. So there you go. So now you can see the 20% in that third column right here towards the top piece here. And then the switches that I added are down here. And these are nothing more than just Boolean switches within Home Assistant. And you just go in and add these Boolean switches over under settings, automation, nope, not automation, settings, devices, helpers, and you can just create a Boolean, and then you can use that like it's a switch, like it's off and on switch, or that way, true or false type thing. And it's working really well. That does that. Now, what I'm finding is I'm going to need a bit more intelligence for it, and that will allow me to keep a little bit better track. The mornings is when I'm still having problems. If it getting it to shut off when the battery finally gets down to 20 is not a problem. Getting it to stay on until it needs to is where I'm having problems. So I may end up, I had the Boolean that says if it's in the morning, so that's keeping it from going. Now I think I need another one that says at, I don't know, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock by the time it should be running full-fledged, to turn that burn off, because what's happening is if it don't burn down to 20% before that time, then that Boolean just stays there and it just runs forever. It runs the battery completely out. So still got a few hiccups, but hey, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying playing with it a little bit, doing some bit mining with it. I got and for those of you keep asking me how much have you bit mined, and we can just kind of take a look at. So I've mined a couple of different things. Quai is one of them, and you can see here I've got 102 Quai that's been deposited, and you can see it in these columns on the left here. There's 130 more that's ready to be deposited, and then 69 more up there at the top. So what I'm waiting for is I've got my deposit switched to 200. And when it gets there, it'll transfer that all over. Because as of today, I stopped processing Quai, and I have some Digicoin done also. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, a big moth flying around in here. Get out of here, moth. Digicoin. Let's see if I can get that to show up. That moth is not giving it up easy today, is he? All right, so we got 4,350 Digicoin. Now, the weird part is I was going to process this for another week and rack that up to about 10,000. But it ran for 2 days, and then I realized that it was not working, that I hadn't mined anything. So immediately I shut it off and switched over this afternoon. I switched to Bitcoin. Now, I had just switch. So this is my first endeavor here with the Bitcoin. I think I ran it for like an hour. Oh yeah, there's stats right there. So I ran it from about 340 to the end of the day. Today was 440. So 240 or 340? 340 to 440. So it ran for about an hour. And as you can see that it was Boy, that moth is really persistent. I should give him a route out. See if I can open up this door here and let him out. I don't know if that blocked the view of anything from you guys or not. Just leave it set open for a minute and give him a minute to get out of here. It's actually nice and cool outside too, which is kind of nice. Now, I did have one really noticeable thing happen this week. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. You probably haven't seen. I posted a short on this earlier this week. No, I didn't. I haven't posted anything yet. I got all the footage from yesterday. Today's Monday, right? So I got all the footage from yesterday. All that footage from yesterday talks about, and this is all about the new panels. I kept getting feedback from people telling me, you got lucky, you can't find panels that cheap, and blah, blah, blah. So I went out. This will be my third time I've gone out looking. I went out looking for panels. It took me about 2 weeks. And yesterday I picked up another truckload of 42 panels. Now, these are not quite as good a shape as the ones that I've gotten, the last 2 loads that I've got. The last load was 30. Was it 30? No, it was 27. It was 27 panels, 26, 27 panels. The one before that was 12, and those 12 I paid $15 for. The 27 I paid $8 or so for each of those. This set I got completely free. The guy was getting new panels on his house. They had a bunch of snail trails and stuff in them. The snail trails aren't necessarily all bad. Sometimes they don't affect the quality of the panel, and some of them do. So you got to be kind of careful which ones you use. So he had taken them all down, stacked them on pallets in his driveway, and then basically said, come pick it up. I had a short about, let me see what I got here with my messages. There's Amy. Hi, Amy. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. I'm going to, I think I got rid of that moth. I'm going to close this door here again real quick. That was one big moth. I don't know if you guys saw it. Size of my thumb. Big giant moth. I am in the solar shed tonight. I decided I'm going to do it until I can't do it, till the heat gets too bad. So, NSB, hey, good to see you. Glad to see you guys are there. This is all about chat night. So guys, please don't leave me hanging. I've got a bunch of subjects I could talk about, but I really prefer that we have a two-way conversation. So thank you for showing up. Good to see you. Well, we've got everybody here tonight. Amy, you had a short about the new inverter. New inverter. I don't remember the new inverter. I had a video about, I had a short about the solar panels against the fence. Yeah, you know what? I don't remember. Either way. And then CJ's here also. Hey, CJ. Wow, we got the whole gang here tonight. Good to see you guys. Guys and girls. It's been one of those weeks where, you know, I'm hoping this microphone's working well. I got my studio mic here instead of my normal lapel mic. I just noticed that sometimes when I record with the studio mic, if I'm not going to be up and moving around a lot, the quality is a whole lot better. So I'm hoping you guys can hear it a little bit better. I didn't set up all the different camera views. I just set this view up, and then of course I have the close-up view from the computer itself. I don't know which one makes any difference one way or another. And this one we could still see. I got to put the bit miner over here. I picked it up off the floor because it usually sits right down here where I'm at. And the charge inverter over there, it's plugged into the solars down there. I think I do have. I wonder if my phone is working tonight. Let's see. If I could do that, would be kind of cool. Where is it? It is, because I'd love to walk you guys over there and show you the wiring I did on. I can switch that back there. Oh, it's good to have that working again. It's been a while since I've had my my phone screen working. Let's see what CJ's got to say here. CJ says, thinking of buying two 24-volt batteries instead of four 12-volt batteries. Well, if CJ, if you are planning to do a 48-volt system or even a 24-volt system, then absolutely. You always want to go with the battery bank that matches the best you can. Oh, I had no sound when I did the walkabout. Oh, well, thank you for telling me that. Let me go to that screen and put some sound on there. Sorry about that. I will. All right, can you hear me on this screen now? All right, now I got this running again. Can you hear me? I'm hoping that never mind, the audio backs. Audio's back. Yeah, that's because CJ, because I switched back to the screen. All right. So let me so what it was is on the audio, guys, sorry about that, is every screen I configure, I have to configure the audio to go with it. So I configure this microphone to go with all of them, and because I changed microphones this week, some of the audios might not be there. I think I have them all now, though. I wasn't planning on using my phone. And would be better, safer. Would that be better, safer, or less. It would be more safe depending on what size battery system you're planning on having, CJ. If you're planning on a 24 or a 48 volt system, always get the battery that's larger that's compared to it. The battery management system will manage all those cells for you, and then that alleviates you needing to have all the wires connecting batteries and all that. So it's definitely more safe. So if you're going to be running a 48 volt system, I would suggest you buy a 48 volt battery. If you're going to be running 24 volt system, then buy 24 volt batteries. I do a lot of 12 volts into 24 volts over there, simply because I get a lot of them to test and it makes it easy for me. But the 124 volt one that I have is for the coffee trailer, which runs 24 volts. And then here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can show it to you. Here I have, I don't see where that thing go. Let's try that one. There we go. So this one you can see I have the 48 volt. They're dirty today because of all that cleaning and I didn't dust everything. But you can see those are 48 volt systems that run the 6000 and the Pikachu. Now I did get the Pikachu working today. Oh, I wonder if I can show you guys the some of the new panels. This would be kind of cool. I'll get to all the messages. Don't stop writing. I'm gonna take you guys on a tour outside if I can. Hopefully this should show up. All right, hopefully you guys could see all of that, or at least some of it. And I know you didn't have audio while I was out there, but I wanted to give you a chance to see all the different panels and stuff I have out there. So that big stack of panels you saw along the shed is, I got a big inventory of 42 new panels this week. So freebies. A guy was getting new ones on his roof, didn't want the old ones, didn't want to pay to have them taken away. So he basically just said, come get them and take them out of here and I'll give them to you. He's also given me the inverters, but I haven't picked them up yet. He had accidentally left them inside. So they hooked up panels instead of series to stay balanced. They're hooked up in parallel instead of series to stay balanced. Yes. You can definitely you can do that. So you're running 24 volts. It sounds like from what you've got here. Oh, this is my first 24 volt inverter. Yes, thanks. Absolutely, CJ. If you're going to run 24 volt, then buy 24 volt batteries. Much better. They'll stay balanced for you within the pack, and then you can run them parallel, and that will keep them in synchronization together. And you'll notice that even that won't keep them perfectly in sync. But when you do a regular full charge, balance charge way up at the top balance, that will get them all for you. So yes, absolutely. I understand parallel is better in some respects. Yes, Amy, you're absolutely right. Parallel is for batteries. Parallel is definitely better. Unless you're just going to have one battery, you're basically going to be running parallel. The nice thing about parallel is that if you have one 24 volt battery and it's a 100 amp hour battery, then that means most likely it has a maximum output of 100 amps. So 100 amps at 24 volts, and you're going to have 2400 watts maximum output. But if you have two 24 volt batteries, then you have a 4,800 watt output because they both can output 100 amps. And if you have three, then you can see this going on and on and on and on. So parallel is definitely better, but running them in series when you don't have a choice is an option, and it works. And there's a lot of people that do that. I've seen a lot of solar systems that do run them in series, so it's not unheard of. I run them here on my 24 volt system. Most of my batteries are 12 volt. But if you have the option, if you're buying new ones, buy the batteries at the size that you need them, because that way they stay balanced. The balancer within the BMS will keep that battery and all of its cells balanced. Let me see. Seems that the audio is not coming through on your video stream for me. CJ, I'm hoping, never mind, the audio is back. That means it was probably just when I had that phone. Sorry about that. I got to remember, I don't have my lapel mic with me tonight. All I have is this one, so I have to take this one with me when I do it. You know what? I didn't even think of that, but I could just take the microphone with me. Let me just take you guys out and show you those panels. Now, I will need some feedback on whether or not you can see phone. All right, so you should be able to hear me just fine. And I'm going to take you out here. I need my shoes. I hate walking around out here at night. Okay, got that. So now let me see if I can get a little bit of light out here. So you can see there's a couple of them there. There's 3, 6, 7 of the panels, the new panels. And then there's another 24. And I don't know if you guys can see way back there in the back, there's like 4 of them that were bad. 2 of them got bad diodes in them, which I can fix those. And the 2 on the left are just cracked. I think they dropped them. And then over here, I put 5. I'm testing them in sets of 5. So I took these 5 and just put them in series so that I could double check that they're all working. Now, what I did this week, I don't know if you guys have ever seen my food trailer in a long time, but I put the roof in this week. So up to this point, it's just been insulation up there, and it's been a nightmare. So this is kind of a mess, but you can see the roof is finally all done. It turned out really nice. I still got some edges and trims and stuff to clean up, but my wife is going to be up at the Harley for Bike Week. She'll be there for, I don't know, about 10 or 12 days right in a row, as the bikers use that as a rest stop and everything. So that'll be kind of a fun event for her, but I wanted to make sure that I got all of her insides done. So now she's got water, she's got the electric, she's got everything all ready to rock and roll. They're going to let us just plug in there, which will be nice. We won't have to worry about that. Yeah, let's see, CJ, let's see. Amy, yes, that was to the audio, I believe. I can hear you. Good to hear. Okay. Yeah, I think I should have all the audio problems fixed. I gotta just, and phone camera is working good. CJ, can you confirm when I walked outside you could hear me okay? Everything was all right? I have this on a wireless microphone set. Now it's a nice one for, musicians use stuff. I've never used it that much. And so I want to confirm that it actually works okay. NSB, you'll be up there too. Yeah. Nice score. I'm assuming you're talking about the panels. I'll probably end up selling a few of them. I'll probably sell them in, a couple of sets of 6. I don't think I could get another 42 in my backyard. And even if I did, I may have the fire marshal come visit me. I was going to buy 2 2400 amp hour watt cycle batteries. Yeah, the watt cycles are looking really, really nice right now. You might want to look at also, I'll tell you what, this, and I'm just, it's the wrong voltage for you. I was just testing this new eco-worthy 12 volt that they've got out, this metal case battery. Damn, it's putting out 190 or 297 watt hours or amp hours, and it's a 280 amp hour battery. But it's really performing well. But it's nothing. It's not 24 volts. It's 12 volt. And 280 amp hour 24 volt would be all so heavy. Pair 24 volt inverter. Yes, that's going to be nice. And you're more than welcome, obviously. Let's see. I broke 4 12 volt batteries because my Victron settings were wrong, and I ruined their capacity. Now they are overcharging. Well, that's not good. The batteries themselves didn't have a BMS in them. You stop that, or are you talking about lead acid type stuff? The BMS should prevent it. Now, Victron obviously should stop it too, but you've got to make sure you go in and do those settings. I know that's a big bear. I'll be up there too. NSB, I'm assuming you're talking about up at Bike Week this week or next week, whenever it is. 20, what is it? The 20, the 20, I don't even remember. Thursday the 25th, I think it starts. I think she's there for 10 days, 11 days, something like that. So that'll be kind of interesting. Switch to rotary instead of smart lithium preset. Oh, ouch. Yeah, that would hurt, CJ. That would really hurt. Now that you've said it, though, I mean, are they trashed? But even the lithium, even the batteries themselves should have shut down unless there's just no, unless there was just no BMS or something. The BMS should have stopped you from damaging them, and that's the whole point of a BMS, is to have that last line of defense against things getting trashed. You know, I think it's this box here. I need to move this box up a little bit. There we go. That looks a little better. So switched. Why is that not showing you the whole message? Oh, I see why. Yeah, let's just see if we can toy with it a little bit. Here's the problem. All right. Seems like all these settings move themselves around when I'm not looking. I don't know why. I think it has something to do with screen sizes, default sizes, and because I have a secondary screen, a primary screen, wherever I put the damn thing depends on it whether it works or not. All right, that should get us back on track there. All right. Oh, good. Well, I'll probably be there myself on the weekends. I'm thinking I'm going to probably do Saturday and Sunday. Now, it's a coffee trailer. So keep in mind, the only real thing we're going to guarantee, that she only guaranteed, I think she agreed to, 9 to noon or 9 to 2 or something like that. So depending on how busy it is up there. We did it a few years back. It was a pretty decent event. They were cycle and batteries. I'm guessing it was just on the edge of not shutting them off. They were getting up to 31. Holy crap, 31.8, which probably means they didn't have a good BMS in them. And this is the unfortunate thing of why the BMS is there and why this has changed the world so much. I'm assuming they were quite a few years old. Most lithium iron phosphate batteries these days would never be sold without some kind of BMS. Sorry to hear that, CJ. That really stinks. Buying batteries instead of expanding is always painful. Totally kaput on hold, 500 watt hours. Wow. That really stinks. That means it makes you wonder too if once you get your new batteries, if you have a cell that's been killed, or if you killed them all, or a lot of the times you'll burn out a cell within the batteries where the cells themselves are not bad, and you can the cells aren't bad, the BMS is bad. Maybe the BMS is fried, or sometimes there's even little fuses on the BMS, and you can replace those. So it all comes down to how handy you are with looking at it, checking it out. But my suggestion would be is, if they're no good at this point, is see if the cells themselves are good. Sense each cell, and if you don't have a cell charger, you might want to try cell charging them one at a time and see which cells you can get to charge. And if you can get, it's a 12-volt battery, so each one's going to have 4 cells. So if you can get 8 cells to work out of them all, then maybe you can put another BMS on it, do a DIY version of the battery. I don't know what happened. Maybe one of the batteries was broken and bottlenecked too much power into the others. Yeah, but see, the BMS is supposed to stop all of that. I mean, obviously you don't want it to be the only way to do it, but two batteries of the same size should not be able to give so much power that it ruins the other one. Especially if the battery said they were capable of being, you hear a lot of people complain about batteries say that they can't be, you can't have more than 4 in parallel, or 4 in parallel, 4 in series, 16 total in a pack. And that's why, because they're watching out for, if you put more than 4 in parallel, how much power flows through all the battery, each of the batteries in the chain, how much can the BMS at the very end handle, and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. And then how much backflow can you get from the 3 other paralleled into the one that isn't paralleled, and so on and so forth. So that's what they prepare it for. But a lot of that is based on the BMS and not having, if you don't have them properly fused, you can do that too. One of the cheap ways to fix the fusing issue, though, is something like this. It's not a guarantee, but I have a few of these hanging up all the time, especially when I'm just doing things temporarily. And this isn't anything but one of those little inline fuses. And I'll open it up. I'll show you what it is. It might work better on this camera here. Let's just see. This camera has a mind of its own, so hopefully it'll focus the way we want it to. But this is basically just like 100. This is I think these are 125 amp, but you can buy these fuses at any size you want. So even if you need smaller fuse, you basically bolt this to the battery here, down like that, and then put your fuse on here and bolt the lug on this, and then it's just an inline fuse, and you put one of each of these on every battery, and then no matter how many batteries you've got, they can't force feed it or pull too much from this one. One of my biggest fears is that I'll put 5 batteries in parallel, and I'll have the ability to pull 500 amps, and I'll have something running at 300 amps, and 2 of the batteries shut down, or 3 of the batteries shut down, and now it tries to pull that from what's left. And so that's kind of why I do this, and kind of protect them that way. But these are not too expensive. I found these on sale, so I bought a whole bunch. I think it was around Christmas time. There was some kind of special going on for them, but I think they're normally like $15 a piece, and I think I found these for like $5 a piece. So I bought 8 or 10 of them, and just kind of keep them around for when things aren't going the way, when I'm suspicious something's not going to work the way I want, or I'm worried about a particular battery, because I do a lot of battery testing, and you have to be a little bit careful, especially if you throw a battery into a big bank like I have over there on the 24-volt side. So, but I would see if you can repair them. If if you have any questions about it, or don't know how to do it, let me know, and I'll kind of help you walk through it with a couple pictures and stuff, and let you know what I got. I got a cell tester here I use to do the DIY batteries. I'm thinking about taking my RV 304 amp hour 48 volt battery. I've got a DIY battery in there. It's a 16 kilowatts. Take it out and put it here, because what I want to do is take those 3 batteries there and put them in the coffee trailer. So I'm thinking about take 2 of these inverters here, which is 3,000 watts each, and completely replace the, see if I can show it to you. Man, this is nice having all my cameras working. So completely replace, this is the inverter, the generator that I use. But as you can see, it's 7,600 watts, but its maximum output is 26 amps, 240 volts. So what I'm thinking of doing is, if I had, instead of 2 lines that have a maximum of 3,300, I guess it's more than that, but really what it comes down to, it's about 3,300 watts. 2 lines, instead of that, if I had one shared that was 6,000, I can run the whole trailer on solar. So what I'm thinking of doing And this has a 120 volt plug. So that's really easy to find, when you go off to a place and you're doing, coffee vending someplace. It's easy to find somebody has a small house plug where I can pull trickle charge all day long, and then have 15 kilowatts of power to buffer everything and get away with that. Or even in a field, most of the time, if she's out for less than, 6 hours or so, 15 kilowatts is enough to run the whole trailer. Especially if she preheats before she goes. And what I mean by preheats, you turn on the espresso machine, you let it get hot based on from the power here as opposed to into there in that trailer, or using the generator. You preheat the coffee pots and that kind of stuff, all the stuff that takes all the extra heat, because the only time you use that much wattage in a coffee trailer, and I mean that much all at one time, is when you first turn it on. Yeah, I would definitely get away from doing them in series. I mean, if you are running a 24 volt system, then, get a 24 volt battery. Like, I'll show you the one that I have. I've had really good luck with these. I had a buddy that I got a couple of them for his boat. He had a 24 volt boat. And the problem I have with doing this with this phone is I can't see the damn screen. I walk over there. Screen of the phone. Doesn't work. All it says is connected to this is the 24 volt battery. There's a 100 amp hour 24 volt battery. And it has, now the only downside to it is this is the cheap version. It works perfectly and all that. If you have a shunt, and it's no big deal with it. Well, this one has the well, this one has the Bluetooth, and all the other ones have Bluetooth. Those are really, really nice, because then you can just kind of link to it when everything's going wrong, and kind of figure it out even without having the shunt and everything. Now the shunt is really nice, but I'd get away from the series also. Especially I try to do that especially with 48 volt though, because I don't like hooking 4 batteries together. I did at one point when I first hooked up the solar shed here. If you go back and look, I hooked up the 2 Chinese 12 volt batteries that are actually over in the 24 volt one now, and I hooked up that smart lead time with the I don't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the little eco worthies, and I made 48 volt battery out of them. Now it worked. Got me started until I could get these taken out of the RV and get them over here. This is fun, just having a good chat, isn't it? I like this. You guys like this more than the other one, or you just like the projects too? I don't know which ones I like. I think maybe we'll just kind of keep doing both of them. Yeah, I might get my neighbor to check them out for me. Good plan. Just make sure that the cells are good. My guess is you got a certain number of cells that are good. I mean, I've never seen a battery that went out, lead acid, of course, but lithium iron, where all of the cells are bad. Usually what happens is one dies, or 2 dies, or they get damaged, a couple of them get damaged together, and you lose capacity on them, but you probably end up with a couple of good cells. Because usually you have 1 or 2 that's run away, and the rest of them aren't run away. They're just along for the ride and die together. The double pole. They have double pole ones too. Oh yes. That was one of the complaints that I have for on the review. I haven't released the review yet for that new eco-worthy metal case one here that I've got, that 280 amp hour one I was telling you about. Is I wish it had double poles, because a lot of us that are running 24 volt systems, we only want 1 or 2 or maybe 3 batteries. And wouldn't it be nice if they were just all could be able to be connected without going through a bus bar or doubling up wires on top of the post and stuff like that. I hate doubling up wires on top of the post like that. So it'd be really nice if they would just give us 2, like they do on the new 48 volt batteries. They have double posts there. That would be really nice if they would do that on these too. Of course, CJ, you're always welcome. All right, let's see what we got here. I had a whole list of things I wanted to chat about, but geez, you guys, we've been jabbering on already for 48 minutes. That's fantastic. So I talked a little bit about the solar and the solar and the coffee trailer. The one thing I'm having a problem with, if anybody has any ideas, let me know. I'm thinking about building a metal shell around the front of the trailer. I might be able to show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm taking you on road trips today. I'm going to grab the microphone and the camera, and I'm going to switch to the phone. There we go. Make sure the microphone's still working. It is. All right, so let me take you guys out here. You know what I just noticed? I think that phone view is all zoomed in. Yeah, that is way zoomed in. No wonder camera, let's see if I can fix it. Oh, it's not zoomed in. It's just a camera view. I just don't believe that. This one might. Yeah, this one. That one's not zoomed in either. Huh. Would the metal shell be too hot? Actually, you know, you say that, but the actual truth is, what is this thing doing? There we go. We say that, but the truth is that the metal case dissipates heat better than the regular plastic cases, and it takes the overheating better, making it safer. It's like putting electrical outlets in a metal box. The reason the metal box is better is because it dissipates the heat. It transfers the heat better than absorbing the heat where a plastic one would. So it absorbs it and transfers that heat out better. Same reason you'd have a radiator has heat. Same reason you have fins, metal fins on the back of your Victron smart charge controllers and stuff like that. The actual metal box makes it dissipate the heat better. And I was kind of surprised when I first learned it too, because I was like, okay, what is this all about? Would this be better? But it isn't. So it's kind of surprising. And then I forgot to go out and show you guys the food trailer. So what I'm thinking about doing, make sure that the audio is still working here, is I want to grab the microphone. Had to come back for the microphone, guys. Sorry about that. So I want to take the back of the food trailer. I'm going to walk around here to the front. Hopefully all this Wi-Fi stuff will reach far enough to make this happen. But there's a platform up here where I keep this box. You can see that on the front of the trailer, and a big square thing where I used to set the generator. And that I'm thinking about just building an enclosure around the front here. And according to my camera, it looks like I just lost connection. So I'm walking back now, guys. Sorry about that. That's kind of funny. I guess that Wi-Fi connection don't work from all the way around the world. Yeah. Oh well. I lost my phone connection, so we won't be doing any more road trips tonight, unless of course it reconnects. Anyway, oh, it just reconnected. Nice. Okay, so anyway, that's the idea. Is I want to be able to take that trailer and build some kind of enclosure there to store 2 of these, and then have a spot where I can put 3 rack batteries in. But I can take them out of here and just put them in there. Then they weigh about 100 pounds a piece, but that's a whole lot better than having 15 kilowatts of power sitting in that stupid trailer all the time, where we only use it for 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, 2 weeks there. I want it here where I can run the bit miner. Okay, so I want to run the bit miner. So I'm thinking I will transfer that power back and forth. I'll put it there when I need it, and then I'll take it in here. that also gives me the ability to take the 15 kilowatts out of the RV and put it here, so that I'd have both 30 kilowatts here with the same batteries that I have now. But when I travel, I can put 15 kilowatts, these 3 batteries into the RV, or I can put these 3 batteries into the coffee trailer. And then I'm considering doing a DIY one of those MB56s. Oh my God. Those things are so cool. 30 kilowatt hours in one battery. I would just build it right here and it would never move. But it would be 30 kilowatts. I got a bug to build one. I just want to build one. They're so cool. Those cells are huge. The battery itself probably weighs 300 pounds, but 30 kilowatts is kind of cool. So that sounds like fun. Let's see, 24. The 24 volt 100 amp hour watt cycles are $3.99 now. Gonna get 2 of them. I'm back in business in air conditioning season. Yeah, air conditioning season is coming, and I am going to have to put a mini split out here, I think, because it's beautiful out here in this time of weather at this time of the year. I think it's like 60. What's the temperature outside tonight anyway? I haven't even looked. I knew it was comfortable. Let's see. Temperature right now is 61 degrees out there, so it's kind of really nice out there. But that ain't gonna hold. Here in another month or two, it'll be 90 degrees, and it'll be the end of that. $3.99, $3.39. Wow, that's pretty good. The watt cycle 100 amp hours are $3.39. That's a really good price. Let's see. Let's just go over and take a look at them. I'm gonna assume we're talking about, well, don't have anything open for. So let's do 100 amp hour, 24 volt. Wow, they really have dropped again. Look at this, $269. Now, obviously, that's some cheap generic thing. Let's scroll down a little bit more. $259. Wow, that's nutsy figgin'. Let's see. I got the eco-worthies for $369. The lead times are $399. And that's the one that I was showing you over there that I've had really good luck with. Defume are $285. Man. Wow. That's like 100 and... What is that? 100 and... let's see. That is 100... That's like $115 difference. No, actually $114 difference. It's just crazy. $279, $239. Are you kidding me? Cycle volt. Wow, check that out. 200. I want to see what that one is. Let's see what they claim on 8,000 cycles. Wow. Give you guys a link for that one. That's funny. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Can I do that? Yeah, here we go. I'll post you a link for it. Yeah, I get a small commission on it, but nothing dramatic, like a buck or two. If anybody sees anything that they want, let me know. I'll be glad to post them. It's not a big deal. If you've already got an order placed somewhere else, go ahead and do that. It's just it helps pay for a lot of the equipment here. That's all. $289. Wow, so it looks like $280, $290 is really the super cheap rate. $390 to $400 is the semi. There's the watt cycle. That's the 12 volt though. What brand did you say? You said. I lost the damn page. Where's my chat? There it is. You said. Oh, I should have just left the chat on the screen. That would have helped. All right, so let's see. You said the 2400 amp watt cycle. Okay, so let's just look for it. Now that we know what the pricing is, let's do watts cycles. There we go. All right, so lead time, defume, cycle volt. God almighty, I can't even believe that. 239 for the cycle volt. That is nuts. Huh, I don't see anywhere on here the watt cycle. That's a shame. They probably got it on their own website or something you have to get them from. Either way, though, that's kind of crazy. The crazy pricing. The battery prices keep going down, but I think I'm gonna have to build one of those MV56s, the 330 kilowatt hours, and I think that's just gonna have to be it. And I may even have to put that second HP, the 6000 XP here, put that 30 kilowatt in, and talk about hurricane backup. I'll be waiting for a hurricane just so I could test it all. Is there a CRT TV or monitor in front of you? Yes, actually. Color maker. Let me see if I can show it to you. Phone. Here we go. So, let me pull back. Yeah, so I've just got everything plugged in on the far side of the trailer, or far side of the shed tonight, and then I just put a standard table here, nothing fancy, and my laptop, and just plugged everything in. I did switch to this mic, and speaking of which, I hope you can hear me okay. I can kind of see the bar over there, so it looks like it's still picking up on one side. And then I'm just sitting in this seat, and then you can see the solar system here. Just plop down a desk sitting right in front of me, so I got the monitoring software on the big monitor here, and then the laptop gives me either chat, or I can scroll across to other things. And with the monitoring software, let me show you what on that one. On this side, I can just pick. Whoops, you can't see it from that view. I can just pick the different screens that I want to see. So like here, if I or I can use my little shortcut thing. So if I want my normal camera view, I click that. If I click the one next to it, it gives me the computer view, which is this one. And then if I want the phone view, I click the phone, and it gives me back the phone. And so that's kind of all it is, really. And usually I have multiple cameras set up so that you can see different things and see different views. And then I just take my phone, and I'm just keeping it sitting here next to me, and just plug it in to keep it charged up. Although my new iPhone, my wife was nice enough that knows that I've been recording a lot on my phone for videos out in the yard and things like that. So she got me the new iPhone 17, and I absolutely love it. All the audio is 1,000 times better. The video is 10,000 times better. And so, but yeah, it's just basically a monitor and a laptop. Sometimes I do it with just the laptop, but tonight I had it's sitting over there because I had done that one live stream last week with the hooking up all the inverters and wires and stuff, so I went ahead and did that one over there. Defume has good prices and are decent. Yes, that's true. The one I have them in 12 volt and 48 volt. That's the one I have them in 12 volt and 28 volt. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. NSB is giving you a suggestion here. Okay, so NSB is suggesting the defume. So let's go back over and look at that one a little closer for you. All right, so here it is, 279, and that one has a power output 15,000 cycles. Don't know if they have the difference between this one and one with. So it's 100 max 100 amp output for 2,560 watts. So you're planning on doing two, so you would have 5,120 watts or something like that, maximum output. Ideal for low temp protection. 15,000 cycles. I'm not sure if I believe that, but man, 15,000 cycles is like 30 years cycling it every day. That's crazy. These batteries are going to be here. We're going to have to start putting our batteries into our wheels. I think that's what's going to end up having to happen, because these things are going to outlive us all. So what is the difference here between that one, 2,100 amp hour, this one, it's 100, so it's $89, $30 difference. Oh, I bet this one has Bluetooth and that one don't. 24 life power, built-in 100 amp hour, 24, 15,000. Protection ideal, oh, low temp. I don't know. Let's just look at them both. Pull this one up and pull that one up and see what the difference is. So, here we go. It's kind of odd. Different companies. Visit the Diffume store. Visit the Diffume. The same company. Two different ads, but it looks like exactly the same picture. One's just a few dollars more, so I'm assuming this one's probably the one that, whoops, that's not what I want. I want this link here. Alright, so I'll just post that link for you guys for that one too, so that you have it, if you were interested in it. There you go. It's hard to pick which one. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take the jump and just do it and then hope for the best. It's the way it goes sometimes. Nice setup. Oh, thank you, Color Maker. I appreciate that. A lot of I spend a lot of time out here, so I like it. I'll just keep doing it. They passed the Will P test when they did the tour. Oh, well, if they passed the Will P test of the tour, I don't know though. He's he was, for many years, he was a big supporter of those Battleborn batteries, and then recently when they started reporting problems, boy, those things just tore up. Those batteries are so bad, and I've got a viewer here that I've been working with in his RV, and he's got some of those the big Battleborns, the Game Changers. So they haven't found any problems with the Game Changers yet, but Willis, if you're watching, we need to double check your batteries for those Game Changers and make sure that they don't have any loose terminals or problems there, because all of those Battleborn batteries are just they're having massive problems, and it is going to be a huge issue, especially with the way yours are mounted and all that stuff. So we need to just double check that. The rest of that system is awesome though. You guys, I'll get a video out on this one as soon as we finish it, but he has got a fifth wheel RV, and he has it's pure Victron system, and he had two of the multi 3,000 kVA inverters in it, and he's upgrading it to two of the 5,000 kVA inverters, running the Game Changer Battleborn batteries at 48 volts, two sets of them, so they'll have 548 volt amp hours, running 10,000 volt kiloamps. It's gonna be really nice. He's gonna have a really nice system. But he was mounting everything when last I left, so I'm due to go over and get everything finished and getting all set up, but that'll be fun. CJ says, maybe I'll get some defume. Do you know do they have the overvolt? Yes, they definitely do. If they pass the wheel test, then they definitely have the overvolt, and not only do they have it, it worked, because he would have never passed them if it didn't. That is one of his key tests. He he was basically why I got my start. When he hit his millionth viewer, he asked, he said he hopes that other people get into doing, you know, YouTube and solar channels and batteries and stuff. And that is the day that I launched it. You can go out and look in his forums and see. That was the day he launched it. As I said, challenge accepted. And just over a year ago, as of, I need to bring that up. Today is the 16th, and as of a year ago on the 12th, I posted my first video. We'll do a little celebration there. So it has been over 1 year that I've been doing this now, and you guys are just fantastic. We are at 19,294 subscribers, and thanks to Will and his hitting his millionth subscriber, that's where it all came from. That's exactly why I got involved. I was a major poster on his forum up to that point, and if you go back and look at his forums, you'll see my DIY battery teardown build out, all coming from China. My first one being all shipped and everything going on that channel, so that was kind of cool. CJ, I'm not sure who the thanks was for, but hopefully, I think it was probably at NSB for the battery spec thing. So thanks, NSB, we appreciate it. The only real 24 volts that I had is that lead time. I haven't had any problems with it, but its price isn't anywhere near what it has been, anywhere near the price of those other ones. So if one of those other ones is a better price, it's much better. I got a 48 volt, 100 amp hour golf cart battery for $533 a few months back. Wow. Hell yeah. Yeah, that is 100 amp hours. That is amazing. For a $533, they're going to be giving them away. I wonder what I can get cells for now. Although I want to do the MB56s, so I bet I could get the 300 amp hour cells though for almost nothing these days, and put together put two of those in parallel and have the same 30 kilowatts in a single battery pack. But damn, I want to do the MB56s. I know I shouldn't want to, but man, those are some cool battery cells. They really are. Are there any components you specifically recommend to buy new? To buy new, the problem with components is yes and no. It depends on what kind of components you're talking about, because some of them can just be run ragged, and you don't, if you're getting a good deal and you're doing it like I'm doing it here in a shed for the fun of it, that's one thing. But if you're doing it for your house, for backup power, for, you know, on grid, anything like that, then you have to look at it a little bit differently. The same way I look at panels. Panels used are great, but they're not anywhere near as efficient. So it depends on if you're leaning them against a fence or mounting them vertically on your fences or setting them up for your shed, then buy the used ones. There's no big deal, especially if you got plenty of room. If you're setting up a system for your house and you're going to spend all that money to get them mounted on the roof and make sure that your engineering on your roof is good and have all the holes drilled in your roof and all of that, then those you want to go with new, because, you know, like the set that I got used this week, I got 42 of them. I got them for nothing. They're 240 watts, but I could buy 500 watt panels that are the same size now. And they're only 10 years old. So you can see how far technology has come in 10 years. Same thing's true with the panels. Now, that said, there is some equipment that just don't age. Like some of the Victron charge controllers, like these here, the blue Victron charge controllers, those things are beast. They come with warranties that are 5 or 10 years old, and I've never ever heard of Victron not honoring one of them. I've never had any problems with my cameras are backwards. I've never had any problems with any of the EG4 stuff. I would actually like to find another used yellow one here so I could build my coffee trailer. But I don't know that I'm going to find them because everyone who has them, they love theirs. So if I can find one cheap enough, though, maybe I'll get a second one and do that build out there. So inverters, yeah, that one's kind of an iffy thing. It depends. They're not like generators where you can look at it and say, oh, well, this has got 300 operation hours or 500 operation hours. They could have been run to death, and you're buying an inverter that they know is on the last. Buying used inverters reminds me of walking through a flea market, and you find that table with all the used lawn equipment, and you look at the lawn equipment and you're like, wow, why are they selling a hedge trimmer for $10? Well, they're selling it because they have a landscape crew that uses 8 of these a year, and the month before they go bad, they put them on that table and get 10 or 15 bucks out of them, because if they wait another month, they're going to get nothing out of it. So that's the problem with inverters, is that but it depends on what you're going to be using it for. And it depends on what kind you're talking about. Are you talking about a big all-in-one like this, where you're talking about taking the risk on, thousands? Or are you talking about something like I did with the, over here in this view, where I did with this big 3,000 watt inverter here, where, that one brand new was only, brand new. I think I only paid 150 bucks for it. Now it works. I ran the tar out of it the other night on a draw test, pulling 2,900 watts for 6 hours straight, and it worked. But it's new, so something like that I wouldn't buy used, because it's just not going to be cost effective long run. But then there's other things that you could get away with, like some of the chargers you can get away with. The batteries, if you can find them and they're in good condition and you can test them, but I would definitely capacity test them. But that makes it very difficult to go pick up a battery from someone's house and do a capacity test. That's the downside to it. Solar panels are easy. You can plug those into testers, or you can bring an amp meter and you can test those. So you can get away with some. The solar panels you can get away with, depending on what you're looking for. Some of the good name brands like Victrons and stuff like that you can get away with. But when you get into inverters where it has all those parts and stuff inside, I would lean against it and stay with the new stuff. So if you're looking for chargers, just regular chargers like the Chargeverter or one of the normal, plug-in chargers or something like that, those I don't see a problem with used, because they're all closed components, and they're pretty much going to work, and most people aren't going to be able to pull them the day before they stop. So, but used equipment. So let me answer the question directly. If I was going to be buying used equipment on a non-critical base system, I would look at solar panels. I would look at the Victron charge controllers, like find them out on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something like that. Both of those would be a good things. You can find some all-in-ones where somebody's upgrading. If you can find somebody that's just upgrading to a new unit, and I hate to say this, but what's really popular for used equipment is there's a divorce. The wife kept the house and all the stuff in it, and she just wants it out of her garage. And when you find those, you get good deals. It's a simple fact of life to tell you how much used equipment I found that way. Found a whole bunch of solar wiring that way one time. Probably, $500 worth of solar wires, and she gave me the whole box for $40. It was a tub of, $500 worth of wires, and I probably got it for, I think I paid $40. I don't remember if I gave her 30 or 40, but it was peanuts. So stuff like that, some of that you can get away with. Your inverter, it depends on what you're going to be using it for and how critical it is. If it is absolutely critical, then I would avoid that one and go with something new. Go with something new, and don't go with a brand that's just a no-name brand like I did over there. That is used strictly for testing, and it does nothing but sits there and runs tests every day. So if it burns out, no big deal. I order another one. But if it's in my house, like, you know, if I was doing a house or something, I'd use something like this, where if it goes out, I know the company's going to stand behind it. I know they're going to do everything they can to help me get it fixed. So hopefully, Amy, that answered the question. I know it was kind of a bit wishy-washy, but the answer really depends on your circumstances. And if you want to give me some idea of what those circumstances are, I'd be glad to elaborate a little bit more. Where are you planning on getting the MB56 and DIY box? I have an EEL. They are good. I honestly don't know at this point. I probably would go back to the same people I got my 304 amp hour cells if they did, or I would go to some of the other YouTubers that have built one and ask them where they got theirs. Unless you've got a good suggestion, I don't even know if I would do a DIY box. I probably will, but if I'm gonna do DIY, I like the DIY, and that means I probably might build the box. But those metal cases that they've got for those things are freaking fantastic. Wow, they are just awesome. So I might end up doing it that way just because they are so awesome. But I don't know. You tell you if you've got something that you know of. I would love to. I'd love to hear about it. Lost my screen. There it is. Cool. Happy YouTube adventures. Yeah, CJ, I appreciate it. It's been a fun trek, and it just seems like it seems like there's a lot of interest in it because, you know, a lot of people are just now getting started, which is why I started that new series, which is, you know, basically, you know, what is a battery, what is an inverter, what is a charger, what is a charge controller, you know, those type of things, because there's a lot of us out there that I remember when I was new, and it's very intimidating going onto some of those forums where you use the wrong terminology. This is the one that gets me. You use simple terminology where you say, you know, oh, I got, you know, 20 kilowatts, and people are like, oh, don't you mean kilowatt hours? That's blah, blah, blah. And they jump all over you for twisting a couple of simple words. You're new, you don't know, you don't understand. Hell, all the solar systems I built, I know the difference between 10 kilowatts and 10 kilowatt hours. I know the difference, but I still say it wrong. I still do it all the damn time. I couldn't even tell you how many videos in the last month I've had to go back and do retakes because I had said something. This is produced, you know, this has 10 kilowatts in it, where I meant this battery has 10 kilowatt hours, and I said 10 kilowatts. Or these panels are producing, you know, 10 kilowatts, meaning 10 kilowatts and 10 kilowatt hours in a day, not 10 kilowatts all at one time. It happens, and so I know that a lot of us feel. I know you and me. I know especially for me, you know, being an engineer, everyone expects me to have the perfect terminology and then perfect wording and everything, and it just is terrible. It's hard for newbies to get involved, so that's why I wanted to do it. Yes, we'll do another celebration. Woohoo! 1 year. Yes. Thanks, NSB. I appreciate it. Uh-oh, look at this. CJ has made a decision. I have just now decided to buy a 48 volt 100 amp hour defume instead and get my new inverter. It's 48 volt too. That is another celebration. Woohoo! Another 48 volt convert. Yeah, the 48 volt is really hard to break. What kind of inverter are you getting, CJ? I want to hear about it. What kind of inverter are we talking about here? Thanks, NSB. I know he said it, but it's always good to get good feedback for other viewers. And now I'm back to this. I want to know what inverter we're going to be getting. I'll get a new inverter that's 48 volt too. Oh, you haven't decided yet. Oh, I thought you said, and I'm going to get my new 48 volt inverter too. Ah, cool. All right. Yeah, you might as well. It'll be fun. Sorry I inspired you to spend money, CJ, but it'll be fun. It'll be worth it. Guys are a hoot. All right. Well, probably WZRELB. WZRELB. .48 volt inverter. All right, let's see what we got here. WZRELB 48 volt inverter. I'm assuming this one here, 3,000 watt WLB. I didn't see. Didn't say. You doing the 3,000 watt or the 4,000 watt? Oh, there's a bunch of them. And a 2,000 watt, and a 4,000 watt. That's a split phase. I didn't realize they had little 4,000 watt split phasers. That's pretty cool. Not bad price neither. For, you know, the size of them, and they're 48 volt. I'm going to use the I'm going to use these right here. I'm going to put two of these in parallel. Give me 6,000 watts. I like having the EG4 name to support it. But I don't know anything about these WZRELBs. Just let me see if I can click on it here. Let's see what it's got. Assume a 3,000 watt here or something. Let's see. 1,200 watt. Okay. 80 bucks. Let's see. 1,200 watt. See if I can find it here. All right, switching back. There it is, 1,200 bucks. Oh wow, it is cheap. It doesn't look like a bad unit. I mean, as long as it performs and doesn't, you know, conk out on you. But the big ones, these that always get me is that this, a lot of the times they claim 120 and then you get them and they're actually closer to 110. And then you plug something in and they drop down to 98. That's what always gets me. That's why when it's the first night I hooked that one up, you saw me do that test, and basically you get them off Amazon, you plug them in, you check them to the specs that they claim they are. So I plugged that one in. I ran 2,800 watts off of it. It dropped down to 119 volts from 120, which was really good. And then it did really well. And the next day I did a nice capacity test, and it ran for 2,900 watts for about 6 hours. It really worked its butt off, and it worked pretty well. But as long as you can get one where the voltage holds in that sine wave. But the sine wave, the problem is with the sine wave, in order to check it, you need an oscilloscope, and I don't know anything about this one. But it is a good price. I mean, for $76, you really can't beat that 1,200 watts. Especially you consider some of the bigger name brands, you would have to buy 5 of them in order to come up with that. Wow, look at that. They got a split phase. 48 volt split phase. 7,000 watts. only, look at that. 48 volts, 7,000 watt split phase pure sine wave inverter, 48 volts, 12240 AC with 4 AC outlets. Now I wonder if that's hooking in parallel to get 12240 AC split phase true sine wave inverter. How do you get to the split phase? Yikes, look at that. 4 wires running to the inverter. Oh, I guess that shows that what I did the other night with that one end over there running 2 wires was the right thing to do, but wowzers. It's pretty spooky. I think I might go with big wires instead. I still don't see how they get to the... Oh, there it is. Alright, so neutral line 240, hotline 1, hotline 2. So it does have just a regular hotline, but it is true split phase. I'll be damned. Okay, that's cool. Well, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear how you how it ends up faring for you, and if the inverter works the way you expect it to work. I'd love to hear if you, when you plug in the big loads and run it up close to the 1200 watts, can it maintain the 120 volts? That's the part that always scares me. I don't like things dropping and jumping around when you turn things on and turn them off. Lost my chat window. Darn it. Where are we at now? There we are. Okay. Now it's better and cheaper. It is 48 volts, definitely better and cheaper. The 48 volt 100 amp hour will save me enough to buy the inverter too. You know, and the thing is, you get the same capacity. 224s at 100 amp hours or 148 at 100 amp hours is the exact same capacity. 48 volt 100 amp hour pool, you get the same wattage out of it. You build and run 1200 watts pretty easy. The 2000 watt one is even nicer. I saw that one on the list too. Let's go back and look at that one real quick. 2000 watts. There's a 24. Oh, that's not 48 volt. Where is it? 24, 36, 20. Oh, look at that. I got all the wrong things here. 48 volt, 48 volt. Do they have a 48 volt version of the... Oh, there's the 1200. Yeah, it's 2500 volts, but it's $319. So that one's a little bit more expensive. Price-wise, anyway. But, I mean, if it suits the need, it suits the need. The one I was looking at, if you're interested. It stays good? Oh, that's good to know. It's good to know. Because usually if you get one from one company that stays good for a while, then, you know, you can pretty much count on the rest. Oh, and those little window units, they don't have a whole lot. The mini splits are even better at startup, but 1200 probably has enough to get it to kick off, depending on the inverter. And if it can handle the startup of a window unit, I'm assuming it's one of those small window units. But even the 1200 BTU one I have only runs at about 700 watts full heat. I don't know what it takes to. I don't know what it has in surge though. That's where the problem comes in. It's the surge. Anyway, all right. Wow. Let's see what else we got to talk about here. Talked about DIY battery. Have any of y'all done anything with vertical panels? I know I'm about to do a big project here where you've seen all the panels that I've got going on and I'm about to, put a whole bunch of panels on. If I look at the stats going on, let's just take a walk over here through. Whoa, wrong screen. Let's try this way. Let's go over to Home Assistant. When all else fails, go to Home Assistant. So today we pulled in 19.2 kilowatts, but there wasn't really a lot of sun. Yesterday I pulled in 28.4 kilowatt hours and 31.4. Now this was 32, 33 kilowatt hours a day is about where it's peaking out. But a lot of that is because these solar panels are still not in ideal situations, don't have ideal angles and stuff like that. So what I'm going to start doing now is running a test on building the kind that on the fence take the vertical panels up. Now, because I'm in Florida, I still have to deal with the high winds. I still have to deal with hurricanes, so I need to be able to knock them down and put them truly against the fence to where if the fence goes, solar panels go with them. So at least they're somewhat safe. But the vertical panels, there's this big debate going on. I don't know where the debate comes from. So a lot of people are talking about, are vertical panels better than normal panels? And the answer is obviously no. But that doesn't mean that you have it. They're better than nothing. So the question becomes, and I'm puzzled by where are the people that are saying vertical panels are better? I understand that if you're up north and there's lots of snow and you put them at about 60 degrees, that the snow comes off easier, so they appear to be better performing when it snows. Okay, I get that. And in the summer, but the panels' highest performance is going to be direct sunlight at the perfect angle. So it's not going to be as good putting them in verticals. I don't understand what the argument is. Has anyone else had any thoughts about that? I mean, you see it all out there, the arguments going on and everything, and I'm just like puzzled why there's this argument about why vertical panels being better. We know putting them vertical isn't better, but when you don't have the room, like when the solar shed, when I didn't have the room, having them mounted vertically on the solar shed was the only way I could do it. And therefore those 12 panels were the only option I had. So I get a lot of feedback from people saying, well, why did you do that? It's not as efficient. You need to do this, you need to do that. And the fact is that there's a lot of us that can't do that. There's especially a lot of the people in RVs. You don't want to have them movable, so you have to mount them flat. There's people with trailers that have to mount them flat. Or there's people who simply don't have the space to mount them any other way. So I've never understood that. I don't understand. I'm not going to never understood it. I don't understand the discussion going on about vertical panels being better. Who's claiming they're better? Maybe someone claimed that they were better during the winter, during a snowstorm. I don't know. Jeff. Howdy. Welcome to the channel. How's it going? Don't let great be the enemy of good. I hear you, Amy. It's absolutely right. I don't know where the argument of it is for them, but it's going to continue to happen here. I'm going to continue to do it. I like the idea of being able to build something that no one else built, or to show something. The other big subject that I want to get into this summer, you guys are going to hear a lot about paralleling panels and how I hear all this discussion going on about, well, you need multiple charge controllers for every time you parallel panels and stuff. And for the ideal, perfect, best performance, yes, but I completely and totally disagree. And I totally and completely disagree with the fact that you need a separate charge controller for every set of parallel panels. That is the whole purpose behind the way the panels, especially new panels these days. I can see easily, and I'll kind of give you guys an idea, show you what I'm talking about. You can see easily that early in the morning, you know what I need? I need Home Assistant to show this the best I can show this. Let's try Home Assistant. Ah, beautiful. All right, so the charts here for Home Assistant, and you can see today was a cloudy day. The output was crap all day long. I mean, just crap. I'm going to turn that message off for a minute. And then, but you look here at voltage coming in from this line of panels. As soon as the sun even starts to crest in the sky, at 6:54 this morning, I was at 220 volts. And at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at peak sun, I'm at 230 volts, which tells me that it isn't in new panels. Now, maybe with some of the older panels, and I'm noticing with that lot that I got that's 10, 12 years old, those panels do take a bit more light to activate the diodes and to get get up, you know, to full voltage and everything. Once they're there, they produce about the same, but they do take a lot. But these panels here are only, you know, these are much these are not brand new panels. The newer ones, even the ones on the RV, were even better. The ones on the RV, those were the new panels that came out 2 years ago. And those darn things, before the sun would rise, they were already up to full voltage. So it's not voltage that's causing parallels to not work correctly. It's people not knowing how to hook up parallel panels and get the same from one charge controller. So as long as they are identical voltage and they're both coming live, like this one is in this example is coming up in the morning, you can easily hook two, and you can see here's a second set of panels here. Exact same thing. The voltage is just a few seconds before the sunrise, and I was going to go check and see what time the sunrise was this morning. So let's see, it was, scroll down, 6:59. So this is 5 minutes before sunrise, and all my panels are at full strength. They don't need direct sunlight to parallel panels. You need them to be the same voltage once they're up to full power. That means if you want to parallel two 30-volt panels, then it doesn't matter if one's shaded and one's not. They're both sitting at 30 volts. It's just one producing power and one's not. And this is going to be something I'm going to focus a lot on this summer and work on that. Sorry to get off on that soapbox. It got me distracted when I saw that. Jeff, everything's good and thanks. Well, you're welcome, Jeff. Welcome to the channel. Name, I don't remember if the name's, the logo looks funny. I don't know if I remember the name or not, though. You new to the channel, or is this your first time here? Either way, it doesn't matter. Welcome here, and we're just chatting and BSing the night and just talking up a storm, or I'm talking up a storm, and everyone else is chatting up a storm. Anyway, we've got about 19 minutes left, and I'm going to call it quits at about 9 o'clock my time. So you guys have anything else you want to talk about, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to pick a couple of different things to talk about. I did want to show you guys the cabinet, how it came out. I don't know if you ever saw, if you got to see the final product. Ignore this one line here. This is our, you can't see that from that phone. Let me just switch over to the phone real quick and give you guys a good view of it. All right. I'm going to move this microphone up here with me. So as you can see, I got to back up quite a bit. The cabinet came out fantastic. All the wires are completely hidden in these racetracks here now. I'm going to zoom in on these racetracks and show you guys. So all the wires are hidden back here and all run in. The only thing I really haven't been able to clean up is this little mess right here. This is where the 48 volt comes in from the step down device down here. This pulls from the 48 volt into the step down device at 12 volts. The 12 volts comes in here, and then I run that into USB converters and 12 volts. So everything in this cabinet is 100% ran off of battery power. So the cool part is I can point that camera up a little bit more. Yeah, that works better. I can shut off all the inverters and everything, and this pulls directly from the 48-volt batteries, steps it down to 12 volts, so it runs like it's kind of like an RV 12-volt type system, and then from that I can run this off of 12 volts, this runs off of 5 volts, all of the Raspberry Pis run off of the USB ports, and all I do is just buy little USB plugs like this, or the USB-C ones. This one's like a USB-C one that comes down here and runs the Solar Assistant, a USB-C for the Home Assistant, one for the Venus system. This one is basically plugged in right here at a USB 5 volt, and then this one actually runs up and connects into the 12 volt. So this runs on 12, this runs on 5, and the whole thing is battery powered. The cool part about it is that means when I have a power outage, if I have a power outage, then I don't have to worry about losing my Wi-Fi connection or anything like that. It all stays connected. Now, that was one of my biggest problems, is that if I shut down the inverter and the lights went dead, then I would lose all my internet, I'd lose all my connections, blah, blah, blah. And if my inverter decided that my battery was too low and it shut it down, then I lost everything, and I hated that. So it was just crazy. So this is kind of I don't remember even when we started this. You guys and I did this 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, this project, but it came out really good. As you can see just how clean it is. Sorry I left that microphone up there. You probably can't hear me as well. But it came out fantastic. It is so clean now. And you can see I originally had this 120 volt wall plug up here. I went to all the trouble to put a dual wall plug and everything in it, and I got nothing plugged into it now. Don't even use it. It gives the whole switch is here, and it basically does nothing anymore. It's got no reason to have it, which is kind of cool. Jeff says, why isn't that showing up? There it is. Jeff says, first time here, just listening and learning. Well, Jeff, welcome to the channel. It's good to see you. We normally do kind of projects when we come here, different projects and stuff. Like we worked on this one week. We worked down at the, I'll show you the test bench down here at the end of the thing. We're just all over the place tonight. Let me just see if the phone will work. So the test bench down there, we worked on it last week. And you can see all that new routing of the wires in the middle was kind of my project earlier this week. All these wires here, these vertical ones, or excuse me, these horizontal ones, are all the charge controller wires and everything. We did that earlier this week as a project, and hooked up the new test bank for this 12 volt over here. I got to get my finger out of the screen or it can't focus. But anyway, so normally we have different projects we do, but this week I just decided we were going to hang out and chat. So and it's worked out really well. So we might take a page out of this book and do this more often and just do the chatting. I don't know if you guys like the chatting more or if you like the actual on hands solar shed work. I don't know. You want to call it maintenance program? I sometimes I feel the maintenance is a little boring and slow, but that's from my perspective. I'm going to do it anyway. So for me to come out here and work for a couple of hours and let you guys watch, I love it. I love having you guys around. So it doesn't bother me one bit. And occasionally I get very lucky and somebody who's a professional electrician or something will write me and say, hey, you need to fix this or you need to fix that because you missed something. And I enjoy that too. And so thank you to those guys. And if you ever see anything that you don't think is right or you want to question it, please do question it by all means. That we're all here to learn. I am by no means a replacement for a paid professional. I'm just a guy having fun building a bunch of solar crap and enjoying myself and love the education part of it. So don't look at it that way. So That's a long-winded answer, Jeff. Get used to it. If you're here for any length of time, you'll learn that I talk a lot. Uh, Vertical solar panels as residential fence. Looking into it. Need to keep voltage low with 100-watt panels. Yeah, I did the ones that I was showing you a few minutes ago. I think over here. Let me see if I can get that back on the screen for you. These here, this top row is my fence panels. This is 16 panels about facing south on my fence, running at 8 in series, 2 in parallel. So there's 2 parallel channels here, 16 panels, and today was a really bad. Let me see if I can go back another day. Can I go back? I don't know. Oh, I see. Yes, I can go back. Yesterday. Let's see if I can do last 2 days. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is nice. Okay. Last 7 days. So you can see the power is never the problem. Voltage is never a problem. They get sun from about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning till about 4:30 and the 4:30, 5 o'clock at night. Here, the time change will be very short. It'll change. These are bringing in considerable amount of power. I mean, we could say like today we got 14 kilowatt hours out of them. Yesterday we got 21 kilowatts. The day before 22 kilowatts, 23 kilowatts. So between 20 and 25 kilowatts. Now that's just that row of panels. There's other panels in my system, and with them you can look at it here in a combination. So today we got 19 kilowatts total, and 28 kilowatt hours yesterday. Almost all of these are either laying on ground, leaning against fences, vertical, or something along those lines. And you'll see them in all of my videos. I play around with different ones, figure out what works, what don't work, to demonstrate how to use them and how not to use them. But the residential fence one, the thing I like about that is it's space that's wasted. So I use it for used solar panels. I like to go out and find really good used solar panel deals. And this week my used solar panel deal was I found 42 panels. Oh, plus I get 2 5,000 watt inverters. I found 42 panels and 2 5,000 watt inverters from a guy that was upgrading his system. He just wanted them out of the yard. Come take them. He had pallets sitting out front. I drove up with a pallet jack, picked them up, and left. Well, it wasn't quite that easy. The pallets didn't fit in the trailer, and I had to actually move them manually. But you'll see a video on that soon. And so that's kind of what I like. It's space that you wouldn't be using. It's like putting the panels on the roof of your house, but it's easier. You can get to them easier, and especially if you're up north where it's cold, then snow isn't going to affect them as easy. They're low enough to clean, they're easy to maintain, and all that. The only thing you got to be careful about it, I think I'm gonna run a piece of EMT conduit all the way down the fence line between the post and the wooden planks. Just put a piece of EMT there and just run the PV wire in that to keep them good and safe and out of harm's way. Or you know what? That's outside. I might use the plastic tubing instead. I have to figure out which one would qualify better for code. Although I'm not going to get it inspected or anything. I still want to follow the code, so I'll check that out and do that. See, all these new projects always come up. And do I have to do that? No, I could just take the wires and attach it to the fence and be done with it. But it does sound like a fun project, so I might do it anyway, just for that sake. So what were we talking about? Vertical panels as residential fence, looking into it as a residential fence. Now that was my original intention, was to build my gate to my yard in solar panels, but I'm beginning to wonder if I might attract too much attention from the authorities by using solar panels as a wall. So I decided not to do it. I decided just to put up the wood planks and everything. But it is a very cool idea, and I would love to do it. I'd love to make my whole fence in solar panels. The only trick is that everything of the fence was a solar panel. then you have to figure out which ones can work together, which ones you could parallel. That one you probably would end up with multiple charge controllers and stuff, but it would be one hell of a fun project, wouldn't it? If you have assorted watt panels, can you put like voltage in parallel so that a couple 100-watt panels and a couple 209-watt panels could be each parallel set into common? So here's the trick, Amy, with this. And I'll have a lot of videos, like I said, coming this summer, but I'm going to answer your question real fast here so that you know for sure. You can parallel the same voltages regardless of the panels. So that means if you put 3 panels in series here, and it's 30, 60, 90, so it comes out, it's 90 volts. And you put 5 panels over here that is, a 30, a 30, a 10, 10, and a 10. There's 5 panels, and these are 90 volts, and this is 90 volts. As long as they're both 90 volts, that's the trick. They need to be the same voltage, because what will happen is if you put one in that's high voltage and one that's low voltage, the low voltage will drag the high voltage down and you'll lose this power here. And this won't be easy to be read, and the MPPT will get confused and you'll lose a lot of power there. Will it work? Yes, it will work somewhat, and you're not going to lose everything. But what you want to do is you want to keep the voltage the same. It doesn't matter how you make the voltage the same. It doesn't matter if the panels are mixed brands. It doesn't matter if the panels are different sizes. You just need to make sure that the maximum on the sticker, that the maximum amperage, the flow through isn't too much, and if you parallel more than one, that you fuse it. And that's exactly. Low voltage is the limiter, but not only low voltage, you want like voltage. So you don't want, even though, let's say that 200 volts isn't low, but if you have one at 200 and one at 300, the 300 is going to be dragged down by the 200. So lower voltage is the limiter, or is the cause of problems. You want them to be very close to the same. And when I say close, I don't mean they need to be exactly 252.3 volts. 250, 248, 255, 250. If they're within, 5-10%, you're going to be fine. Usually, even on exactly the same panels, you're going to see a couple of volts difference. So don't let that worry you. But if you get the same voltage, then that will make it very, very easy for you. And then you can parallel all you want. And you can see very clearly from this chart that I showed here. And you want to test this on some of your panels. Some of the older panels, this isn't true. I lost this page. Oh, here it is. You can see very clearly on this one here. This over here is the power coming from those panels. This on the left is the voltage for those panels. But you can see from this voltage, in the morning, this starts as soon as the sun starts to come up. This is 30 minutes before sunrise. And sunrise is 9:55. So at 9:55, I am 10 volts away from full power. So you shouldn't have a problem, regardless if they're shaded or not. You may not produce power. You can see on the right-hand side, we're not even producing hardly any type of current or power. But you are producing voltage, and that's the part that's important. Keep the voltage the same, parallel them all together, but make sure you buy some fuses. I'm going to grab one to show you here. They're relatively cheap. There's a bunch of different brands, but you need to make sure that when you parallel them together and you get, let's say you have 100 volts, that you put some kind of fuse like this in line for each string. And that means that, I don't know if you can see that really clearly. Let me see if I can switch this to this other camera. That's much better. So this is a 15 amp, 1000 volt DC inline. You just plug your solar panels at the end of the string into this side, and then plug this into your wherever it needs to go. And the reason you need to fuse when you have more than one string in parallel is because, and you don't need to fuse if you only have one string. If you have only one string and a solar panel shorts out, then the solar panel shorts out, the whole string dies off. The only panels that are there are the ones that are working with it and it dies off. What you don't want is you don't want one string to short out and have another string or two that are in parallel feeding it power and keep that short running and running and running and running and running. That's why you're doing this. So when it shorts out, this fuse pops, the other two panels are still running and isolated, but this one's no longer connected to it for all that other power to go to. That's where the fuses come in on hooking up panels. And I'll give you another example. If you look at, now I'm going to open my PV combiner box here. You're going to have to excuse some of the random wires I have in here as I move things around, but I'm going to show it to you anyway because it's important for this subject matter. So this, let me get this microphone over where you can see me. Let me put that camera where I can actually focus on. So you can see here, all the positives come in and they all go through a fuse. And the reason they go for the fuse is because each one of those is an independent string. And if that one string has a short, you don't want those other 5 or 6 strings feeding that short power. So that one string shorts out, the fuse for that string pops, and the other 5 strings go on operating as normal. Another one shorts out, and its fuse pops, and the other strings go on operating as normal. If you don't fuse them, it is very, very likely that if you have a short, all the other parallel strings are going to continue feeding that power in infinity. And you could have a serious, serious fire at that point, especially if this is on your roof or backed up to something like that. So this is why fusing with solar is so important, that you get it right and that you fuse strings that are going to be ran in parallel. Now, if you have a string and it's only one string going to an MPPT, and like with the 6000, this has 2 MPPTs. So if I had 2 strings and there was nothing paralleled, then I could put those 2 strings in here and not put a single fuse on it. Doesn't matter because there's nothing there to fuse. You're not going to have a short being fed by other panels. Hopefully I made that, emphasized how important it is to fuse them to make it safe. That's the important thing. And then just make sure you have the right, what am I saying? Make sure they stay the same voltage and same relative within 5, 10, 15 volts, somewhere in that area. And also, if they're not exactly the same, there's going to be some losses. It's not going to be that it don't work. It's going to be that it don't work as well as it could. If you say this to a big portion of the solar and community out there, you say, yeah, it's going to work, but it's not going to work perfect. They're going to be like, oh no, it's going to affect it. It's going to have these huge effects. Yeah, it's going to have some effect on it. It's not the end of the world. It's some losses. If you have 7 panels and you don't want to just leave one out, and you put that 7th one in there and it causes one string to be 10 volts or 20 volts higher than another string, is it going to break it? No. If the gain is worth it, then it's okay. Just know that you fuse them correctly. Okay, moving on. Hopefully I made that clear enough. And now I gotta go find my chat window. I lost it. There it is. Okay. Jeff, thumbs up to you too, buddy. The issue is permitting and safety from high voltage. Yes, it definitely is. The issue is permitting and safety with high voltage. It always is, especially with DC voltage. If you're not using inverters and you're not micro inverters that shut down. So for those of you who are not familiar with what he's referring to, if you take a string of, let's say, like I've got here, 8 panels that are in a string running at 250 volts, then let's say there's a fire, and firefighters come and everything. Now they have live 250 volt wires and it's DC power right there, where even if they use their axe to put the fire out, it makes a very big fire hazard. That's why a lot of the times they say that they have to be in, if they enter a building, they have to be in metal conduit or something like that. On the back fence of your yard, on top of your house, they have to be. Now, in most places, code says that it has to be within a house or a dwelling. I don't know how they word it, dwelling or some crazy terminology, and I don't have my code book with me, but it basically says that. So on your fence, questionably, I would go ahead and put it in conduit or something anyway. As I discussed earlier, that's probably what I'll do, is put mine in conduit just for the sake of doing it to make it safer. And thinking about that, it makes me wonder if the PVC is probably not such a good idea. Although maybe what I would do is bury the PVC. That might be a better idea. That would make it even more safe. So, but permitting is going to be where the problem comes in. You have to figure out what is code compliant. So what a lot of people do, because you can't have those type of high voltages without shut-off devices to automatically turn them off, is they use what they call microinverters. And it takes the DC power and it converts it to AC power right there at the panel. The AC power is converted at the same frequency as your grid power, and it's directly fed into your grid in some cases, and in some other cases it can go through your inverter and then go to your grid. The trick here is that there is a signaling system between the inverter or a communication device, depending on how it's hooked up, to tell that microinverter to stop. Actually, it doesn't tell it to stop inverting. It tells it to start inverting when everything is ideal for it to invert. So it's basically says turn on. And if you continues to send the signal stay on, stay on, stay on, the inverter converts and makes 240 volts. The trick is when there's something wrong with the inverter and that device stops signaling it, or the firefighters flip the switch to say shut this off, that signal stops transmitting, and all those inverters, those microinverters that are at the solar panels, all shut down and no power comes out. They come out at 1 volt, which allows you to test that there's continuity, to make sure that they're hooked up, to make sure everything works, but it makes it safe. For now, the firefighters can climb on the roof, they can deal with the wires, they can move things out of their way without the fear of being electrocuted. In addition, it's converted from DC to AC power, which we all know is much safer and easier to deal with arcs and stuff like that. In a house, there is no requirement in a house that you have your wires in your normal wall outlet wires in anything other than in the walls. But in DC over 28 volts, I think it's 28 or 30 volts. I think it's 30 volts. Over 30 volts, it's required that it be in conduit. And that's because DC voltage gets very dangerous once you start getting over 40, 50 volts. So anyway, long-winded explanation for that, but your most game. I can't get the name right. Sorry. Call you most. But you're absolutely right. It's permitting and safety for high voltage. That's where the real trick comes in. Amy, as always, you're always welcome. All right, guys. It is 9:06. I am going to thank you guys one more time for the, let's see what it is. What is it? Lost my screen. Here it is. We are going to celebrate 19,293 subscribers tonight. Thank you so much. And this is our annual celebration, so we will set the fireworks a second time. We been around for 1 year, 19,000. I look forward to the growth. I look forward to the many builds that we have in our future. I want to thank all of you for subscribing. I also want to make sure that you know, if you are a member, even for a measly $2 a month, you get early access to all videos. I think as of tonight, there are 3 videos waiting to be released. And I have another 2 that should go out here in the next, or be prepared here in the next day or 2. So it's not a whole lot. It does give you a little bit of insight to what's coming out and gives you a chance to look at them before the rest of the public sees them. If you're the type of person who don't like to wait, they're always there. And I encourage it because it does help pay for things here. If not, there'll always be freebies out there also. They're always free. They always show up. They just take a few days. Sometimes I don't want to release them all at the same time. So I scatter them out either 3 or 4 days apart from each other. So You guys have a great night. Thanks for coming. Did I miss anything? Did I miss any messages or anything? I think I got them all. CJ, you're welcome. Yes, fireworks again for CJ. Congratulations on making your decision on your 48 volt. We're going to celebrate that one too. That's great. I look forward to hearing about it. You guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you again next Monday. I don't know what we're going to be doing, but we'll do something fun. You got any suggestions? Make sure you leave me a comment.